sunshine and rainbows. It's a mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it.
Welcome to the InsideOutrz podcast with me, Danny Lloyd, the man that took the I out of addict and puts the Y in you.
Great intro, and it's your boy Jordan, aka the Lock Dog. Let's get into it. We're back with another one.
We are back with another one, and who do we have with us today? We have the princess of chaos, the hurricane meeting the tornado, otherwise known as Caitie, Fearnside.
Hi, how are we?
We are absolutely fan-dabby-dozy.
We're very excited. Well, I'm definitely very excited. We usually go by the Queen of Chaos, but Princess is fine.
Okay, well, Queen, yeah, very true. Should have thought about that, Queen. Yep, that's very true.
I was great until I just realised I need a bit of intro.
Yeah, you probably should now after doing that, eh?
Yeah, that was a lot.
So
I had two.
You did? Oh. There you go. Twice as nice, like the Queen. 2 birthdays.
There we go. Two birthdays.
Not anymore, because she's not around anymore. She's dead. But
moving on.
Moving on. That was a bit awkward. Yeah. Anyway, so we are here today with Caitie, and we are going to go on a epic journey of many things that we would like to highlight, understand about you, journey with you. And you have some powerful stories, but also you got some really cool messages around what you do, what you want to do in the industry you're in to help others, and generally that you're just a pretty cool cat. Let's be honest.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that.
So first off,
before we go any further, I want you to take it away with our sponsors.
That's correct. I was just getting to that. So we are very blessed to be sponsored on this show by 2 amazing businesses and enterprises and entrepreneurs. First off, big shout outs to Big Danny Boy Smith down in Moana, south as fuck. Killer Moe's have been sponsoring our show from pretty much day dot, and Dan has been backing us. He's been on the show. You should check his episode out. It's as loose as a goose. He's definitely one of our biggest fans and biggest supporters. So thank you, Killer Moe's. And secondly, we want to give our shout out to our American sponsor, Mr. Ryan Ferrari and his beautiful wife, who have 5-Star Classified, which is an online community that prides themselves on no censorship. And you can buy and sell the items you want for only 99 cents. Shout out to the man over in Bullhead, Arizona, Ryan Ferrari. Thank you for the sponsorships. And swiftly, as we move forward into the main event, let's get ready to rumble. That was weird.
All right, jump into it.
All right, cool. So, my darling, what's happening?
That's a loaded question.
It is a loaded question.
It is a loaded question. As we know, I'm a little bit dusty today. But
bit of dusty Springfield?
Yeah, just a tad.
Have you drunk your water?
Yes, always. And as I'm representing always, I am not being a dickhead. And I'm trying to tell everyone else not to do that either. So let's see what happens. It's
one of my most favourite things about watching your social medias is how you finish every one of them with, and just remember to drink your water and don't be a dickhead.
Yes.
And now you have...
No, I have the
merchandise.
I was like, no, I just need to do something a little bit more with this, because there's so many people that, I guess, that come to me, like, they message me, they'll get into my DMs and I'll be like, it's so uplifting. Like, I just wait for those videos. I haven't done it in a long time, actually, but... they wait for the videos, and I'm like, that's great, because I'm like making an impact on them, and they see that and they go, hey, no, she said not to do that. I'm not going to do that.
Don't be a dickhead.
I wish I'd listened to myself a little bit more, but
that's all right. We're always good at giving advice and not listening to our own advice. Let's be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So without further ado, let's get into this, because people are probably wondering what you're here for. So why did you agree to come on this podcast, and what do you want the listeners to gain from tuning into this episode?
Because I wanted to. No, because I do. I've got a few things that I want to put out into the universe. I'm always very focused on putting out positivity and helping people, and I am a helper, I am a carer. That's my personality, it's the way that I am, and I want to put that out.
Yep.
And I want to encourage others to do that, and I want to work with people like yourselves that are doing the same thing, because it's important. There's so many negative things going on in the world, not just at the moment, but in the future there will be, and in the past there has been, and everyone's dealing with their shit, really. So why not make it just a little bit easier by supporting people?
Yeah.
So that was a big thing for me to come on here and talk about that and talk to you. And I absolutely adore you. Since we met, I was just like, this guy.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to work alongside you, and I knew what you did and got to meet you, and we're all good.
Yeah.
So I am just want to get some messages out and just want to uplift some spirits, because everyone's a little bit down at the moment, it seems.
It does seem that way, doesn't it? And we're coming across it on a daily basis in our profession.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing it in your profession, as we've discussed and talked about. And people are struggling. And so this is the whole point of this podcast, is to give people a place of refuge to just come and sit in the mud.
Yep.
And understand it's okay to sit in the mud. And once they finish sitting in the mud with us, they can leave each episode and go into the sunshine again.
Yeah, well, the good thing about mud is you can wash it off.
That's exactly right.
Absolutely. And you know what? I'm probably just as curious, if not more, than the listeners that are going to tune in. So please do us all a favour and tell us a bit about where it all began, growing up, through the years to today in this very moment. Let us know who Caitie is.
I actually had a really, really, really good childhood. I was born with something called Stickler syndrome, which is a genetic disorder. So it came from my father's side, and it attacked my hearing and vision. Usually the more severe forms of it come with like bone deformities, cleft palates, things like that. So there's a little bit of it's could have been a permanent care situation. So basically how that kind of transpired was my parents finding out that I was hearing impaired and that I was vision impaired, quite severely vision impaired. I can't actually see anything without my contact lenses until it touches my nose.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's 2400. So you've got like 20/20 vision, I'm 2400. So it's pretty intense. But my childhood being the way that it was actually phenomenal, because my parents put in so much effort, like cue cards and everything, making sure that I could pronounce things right. I tell people that I'm deaf, that I wear hearing aids, I've got 60/40 loss in my ears, and they go, what? Because they're expecting me to have the lisp that most like hearing impaired people do have. Like, how are you so well spoken? How do you pronounce your words so much? That's a testament to my parents, 100%.
That's cool.
Their work and the effort that they put in to make sure that I was struggling as little as possible through school, through high school and everything. I have the most respect for those two people. Yeah, they're both crazy.
I think we're all a bit crazy.
They're both crazy, and yeah, we've all had our ups and downs, but I always have so much respect for them based on my childhood and my sisters as well. Having a sister 2 years younger than you that's is in a situation like I am is not easy for her either.
She has the same...
No, she's completely normal, as they say, quote unquote normal.
Okay.
So having a sister when I'm getting all that attention, and she's the oldest one.
Sorry,
and
got you.
Yeah, I've spoken to her several times about it over the years, and we've both connected on it quite a lot. So yeah, my childhood was great. It was actually when I pulled into high school, so like mid-teens, like 15 plus.
Yeah.
That's when everything started to turn to shit.
Okay.
I'm absolutely blown away at that whole short bit of your story. I literally met you 30 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And for anyone that's listening, literally 30 minutes ago. I had no idea. I would not have known that there was any disability.
I get that a lot. I do get that a lot. It's actually, like, I'm quite proud of that. When someone's like, oh my God, what? I'm like, yeah, I'm perfect. Look at me. But no, thank you. I appreciate that. It's really nice to hear that kind of stuff, because it goes back again to my parents, because I go, God, I was lucky. Because there's so many people out there that just wouldn't have been. And they were just hell-bent on making sure that I had the best childhood I could possibly have with the situation I was in. So, yeah, I can't say... Yeah, I just can talk about how much I love them for that.
Shout out to mum and dad.
Yeah, so shout out to mum and dad, absolutely. And my sister.
And your sister.
Not that she'll ever listen to this.
Yeah.
She might. Who knows?
You never know. You never know. People can be very curious when no one knows they're watching something.
That's it. Yeah, and then coming into high school, it was really at the height of, I guess, all of this disability. And it was difficult because I had to sit at the front of the class all the time because I couldn't see the board. And that is so bizarre to high school students. Why would you sit at the front? Why?
Yeah.
So it was a very, like, it was chaos. And I think that's where the Queen of Chaos started coming in.
AKA the hurricane.
That's where it all started coming. So I started rebelling, and I would flunk out on all my schoolwork because of the pressures that I would get from the other students and even from some of the teachers as well, because they didn't like the fact that they had to pay special attention to another student that might have difficulties kind of doing the work in general.
Yeah.
Not just like the like problem solving stuff. So not just maths or English or something. Like I could do that. It's that I can't get it from the board to here because I can't fucking see it.
Yeah, that's a lot trying to relay all that, right?
Yeah. So that's kind of where it went all weird for me.
Private or public school?
Public.
Public school.
Yeah.
Adelaide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I grew up. I was born in Adelaide. I was actually born way down south in Victor Harbour.
Oh, yeah.
And we stayed there for a few years as youngins, and then moved kind of closer up to the suburbs, as they say. But yeah, I just started rebelling.
What did that look like to begin with? Is that like obviously drinking, experimenting with drugs, or is it just hanging around in the wrong crews? Like what was it like?
It was more rebelling in an educational sense. It was because I was getting picked on for the sitting at the front or not being able to see the TV when they put a movie on or something like that, or not being able to hear someone who's yelling out to me from across the kind of like across the yard at school. Like, it would be like, oh, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? And it became so frustrating that I just started getting angry because I was sick of having to explain myself. And looking back now as a 31-year-old woman, looking back to when I was 15, 16, 17, it was pretty full on for even as early as 13, like year 8, kind of starting it all off. Like, it was full on to go into that environment and have, I guess be perceived as okay and everything's great and you don't have any problems. Like, as you just said, like, you didn't realise, and a lot of people didn't realise until I actually demonstrated that there was a problem, and then I would have to talk about it and they'd be like, shock horror, like. So it was really difficult to navigate high school and navigate teenagers, and just got over explaining myself.
Yeah.
At such a young age. I was just like, no. So I started to rebel. I started to get into fights. I was fighting. I was hanging out with the wrong crowd. Absolutely. My parents were quite lenient with us because we were trusted to do the right thing. Yep. I very rarely did the right thing. I took advantage of that a lot. Something of which I have apologised for. But, so when it came to drinking and things like that, like, we would have friends over, and like at 16, 17, my parents weren't against going, oh yeah, have a vodka cruiser or a couple or something like that, especially on a Friday or Saturday night. You know what we all did. Yep. Let's be real. Like, I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, I didn't start drinking until I was 18 and I got my... No, I did. I was out nightclubbing at 17. Like,
Yeah, I was the same.
Yeah. So
I put my hand up to that one too.
I think I think parents are actually doing it the right way as far as I'm concerned. My mum was the same. So from about 14, I was already drinking. Yeah. It's a thing in Guernsey and Britain. We just drink. Anyway, it's not an excuse, but we drink. And so my mum's theory was, I'm not going to be able to stop him. It's like prohibition, right? Mm-hmm. That didn't work because everyone just started drinking underground. Yeah. So she's like, you and your mates can come over here and I'll buy you a crate of beer between you,
Yep.
and you'll stay here and drink it.
Yep.
And then I can control at least you not getting stabbed, killed, arrested, or all of the above.
That's exactly what my dad mostly was like. Mum wasn't all that present in my teen years. There's a whole other ball game. I'm not sure if I'm going to be game enough to get into that tonight.
But I think there's enough there already. What we could be doing.
But so she wasn't really too present. So we were with Dad most of the time, and he was exactly the same as your mum. Like, it was pretty much just as I know you're safe here. No one's dying, no one's doing anything. And if something happens, there's an adult here. So if what's her name over there decides to drink half the carton of cruisers and she vomits everywhere and needs to go to hospital, there's someone here. Hello.
Soberly that can drive and navigate the shit show.
Exactly. So I think it was great. I was actually having an argument with not an argument, a discussion with my dad and my stepmom about very similar things in relation to drugs and stuff like that. Like, testing it out with your parents gives you that kind of, it's a slippery slope. Like, there's a thin line between your parents giving it to you and you go, oh yeah, it's okay, like I did, and taking advantage of it and going a little bit crazy. Whereas my sister went kind of the opposite way. She tested it out, like, with drink and everything, and she's the most responsible person I've ever met in my life. So it's the slippery slope, but I think it's also a really good way to kind of approach parenting as well.
It is. I remember, because my mother was very much the same. I remember thinking in those moments, I have the coolest mother in the world. But I know now she was just so concerned and anxious with the idea of me. Well, you know, when you're a teenager, you're quite vulnerable.
Yeah.
And to know that your vulnerable child that you love dearly is out inhibited, vulnerable, under the influence,
Probably
and
at a pub
anything
somewhere.
could happen. It is kind of, you would draw that conclusion and go, I'd rather have them at home where I can supervise. They can get drunk. Not that they probably agree with that either, but it's like, at least I know there won't be a dreaded phone call.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they know what's going on, and they've got I think it's...
I think it's the right way. I mean, I'm sure there's millions of parents that will be basically saying we're like the devil.
Yeah.
And that's fair enough. That's a parenting style that they have, and that's fine. But on reflection, as we're now all grown-ups, I mean, I went off the rails a lot, but it doesn't matter. I think that was the right way when you're in an environment growing up, to at least know that your parents trust you, and if you are struggling with any of the things, I mean, I'm going to assume, like me with my mum, you with your dad, you could talk to him if there was shit shows involving drugs, alcohol.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He knows everything about me.
Yeah.
There's not, I actually don't have anything that I hide from him at all.
Yeah.
And he's very much the same. We don't have we have very in-depth conversations and lots of moments, but I mean, there's some tiny little things that he might not need to know about my life, and vice versa. But
Which will make sense when we get further into this. I like actually how we've kept this suspenseful. People have no idea what you do still, and I actually like this, because once they do and they start putting the dots together, they're very like, what?
oh wow, she's actually got a brain, huh?
Yeah, but I like this, because here we have the real, like, this is exactly what we wanted out of this episode, right?
Thank you.
So this is actually really cool, because we're putting the real portrait out, and then people won't be able to make a judgment.
Yeah.
Because that's partly what me and you talked about wanting to bring out in this episode.
Absolutely.
So I like this. I like the way this is running.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. It was an accident, but we're doing it. So, all right. So where did that next step to, once you were in the wrong crowds and you're getting into the fights? And I'm assuming at this point you are getting suspended from school?
Oh, absolutely. I think I got suspended like 4 or 5 times. I was very close to getting expelled, from what I remember. To be completely honest, I have so much crap that went on in that time in my life that I've actually blocked a lot of it out, which is something I'm working on right now, which is why I'm comfortable talking about it, because there's been a lot of that whole self-reflection on my past and why I've gone through and done the things that I've done and what my behaviour pattern is behind that, and trying to change it so I'm not making these crazy ass mistakes anymore, which I haven't done for a long time, so I'm proud of that. But yeah, so a lot of my high school life, I did block out. I had some great friends and I had some amazing times that I do remember. I was just a bit of a loose unit.
Oh, that's me.
Yeah, I really was. I was just rebelling. I was like fuck being disabled kind of thing.
It does make sense. Like you were clearly frustrated in those years and having to explain yourself to the peers and all these other things. And like you've said, just tiring, frustrating. I was infuriated, blah, blah, blah. Behavior is also a language.
Yeah.
To rebel and get angry and lash out, you're trying to say something that you're struggling to internalize.
And especially at that age, trying to voice something as kind of intense as that is not an easy feat. Like that's not what 14-year-old can you expect to go, I'm struggling with X, Y, and Z. How do I fix it?
Yeah.
Especially when you've got parents or people around you, adults around you, whether it's parents, teachers, or anything, who go, "Oh, you're 14. You've got no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Wait till you're an adult."
Yeah.
Of course, I don't want to say anything. Of course, I don't want to voice the way that I'm feeling because it's just going to get shut down.
So you already feel different, and then you're told to be voiceless.
Yeah.
No wonder anger started bubbling up.
Oh, I was very angry.
It's a super important time in everyone's life, like in teen lives. Like you're trying to form your identity. And in that environment, instead of feeling like you fit in, you're constantly told like you stand out.
Yeah.
It's
You're
like,
different.
Well,
And being different
how do
is
I
bad.
identify?
Yeah. Like, where do we go from here?
Yeah.
Which I think is what nullifies and stifles types of people like all of us that have gone through our stuff.
Yeah.
Because we lose our genuine self through that process, which is probably why we end up going down the spirals we've all gone down. Then we got to get out of the pit. And then after we've got out of the pit, everyone knows we were in the pit. So they still judge us. And then as we grow, then we start finding our genuine side. And just FYI, because you're a lot younger than me and you're well younger than me, I've just hit 40 and I'm only just really being my genuine self. So
Yeah, he's an arsehole.
yeah, absolute
Waited
arsehole.
40
Yeah, me too.
years to
I
figure
get
it out.
Sometimes you got to be.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. It's villain error, as they say, isn't it? Something like that.
So what was the next stage? So I'm assuming at this point after school life,
Yeah.
like what did you do? What happened next? Did you go into work or were
I
you just...
left school halfway through year 12.
Okay.
Went straight into a traineeship, apprenticeship kind of situation. Got my certificate of business admin. Did some business studies and got a couple of other certificates as well. And then basically went into, just administration, kind of management stuff. I wasn't an administration manager until, I would have been 20. So straight out of high school, 17, I've gone to the Adelaide desalination plant working in construction, got a traineeship, got a certificate, came out of that. My job life was all over the place, if I'm going to be completely honest. I started in a construction industry, loved it, tried to kind of navigate being like part of the building and construction industry, like be in the admin side of things, get into the operations side of things. So I went into like big name, like custom builders, like home builders. I went into traffic control. I was in the offices for traffic control doing operations. I was in a number of different things, and then I ended up falling into, I even touched into education at some point. That was 2 years of my life that were actually really good, and I'm still friends with my boss from that day, from that time. So that's pretty cool.
That's good.
Yeah. So, but I was working in the traffic control.
Yeah.
And was in their office, and the hours were kind of dwindling down. And my dad, my uncle, and my brother-in-law all work together as subcontractors for like a aluminium framing company. And one day, my dad was like, "Do you want to come work with us?" So I did a couple of weeks and ended up being a subcontractor, installing aluminium window frames and glazing and doing all of that kind of stuff for, I think it was about 3 years.
Yeah. I remember when you told me that the other week when we caught up about pretty much just being like you don't,
tradie.
Yeah, but like a chippy, like doing kind of woodwork and all that.
Yeah, so we did a little bit of framing, like first fix kind of stuff as well. We touched on pretty much everything. My whole family, so aunties, uncles and everything, will say to me very regularly, your sister was handed a Barbie and you were handed a screwdriver. That's how it is. Just
it's just how it's worked out.
Just how it's worked out. And I've still got all my tools and stuff. They're sitting in the shed at my dad's place, which is where I'm staying at the moment. So, but yeah, I'm getting ready to go overseas, as you know. So just chilling out at dad's for a little while. No rent. That's good.
Always
Love
good.
it.
Always good.
But yeah, all my tools and stuff are up there still. I had my own van. I had everything. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Then me being the fiery person that I am, cracked the shits one day because being a tall, blonde, slim, mildly attractive woman. No, not mildly. I'll give myself a little bit more than that.
Come on, give yourself a little bit more credit than that.
Bump it up.
Bump it up.
Anyway, yes, being an attractive woman going onto a work site is rough. So it's another one of those situations like it's the high school situation. It was literally, if you speak up about the way you're being treated in a male-dominated industry, don't even think about it. Don't even think about it because you shouldn't be here in the first place. That's what it is. You shouldn't be here in the first place. This is for guys. Girls shouldn't be lifting up 80-kilo panes of glass on their own.
Yet you did.
Yeah, absolutely I did. I had a guy once, I was on site and he looked at me, he's like, oh, don't break a nail, sweetheart. I looked at him dead in the eye and just lifted it up and walked straight past him. I was just watching him the whole time. I was just like, oh, don't worry, I won't. And I used to go, I don't have them at the moment, but I used to go to work with my acrylics, like the same nails that I have at work now. I used to go, and they were about this long, like a centimetre longer than my fingers. And the boys loved it because I'd drop a screw in like a little crevice or something somewhere, and I'd be like, Caitie, come and get it, because they were like little, little grabbers.
Like that, like that claw machine. You put the money in and try to pick up the toy.
It was hilarious. It was so good. It just like drop my fingers in there and be like, yeah, I gotcha. Here you go, and give it to them. Yeah, it was. It was like what are they called? Skill testers. I'm pretty sure, aren't they? Those machines.
I don't know. I've just said that. I've just
the grabby thing.
Like the claw thingy.
The grabby thing.
That you lose all your money and never win anything.
They're impossible to win. I'm going to have to Google it now.
I'm interested. After you left school and got into admin and you've removed yourself from the environment that was kicking your anger into like high gears, right? Then you leave school and you go in to do the admin stuff first before going back on the site. So this bit in between. Did your anger subside at all?
No.
Not at all? No.
No, not at all. Because, again, working with computers, working in boardrooms, working in situations where you've got a lot of people around you. You're in the reception area, which was primarily a big chunk of my administration kind of career, I was on reception.
Yeah.
If you have someone that's coming in and they're talking very quietly spoken, like, and you're sitting there deaf as, you're like, huh?
If you've even picked up they're even talking, right?
I remember once... Oh, the woman absolutely lost her mind at me, and I was just like, no idea. As you guys know, like, you can't pick it up. But anyway, I was sitting there. I wasn't meaning to ignore her, but she was talking to me. She was very quietly spoken. So I'm on the computer just, like, minding my own business, and she's talking here. I just didn't see her because I'm facing this way, and she's over here somewhere, and I'm just like, oh, shit, there's someone here. And she went off her tree. I was like, why couldn't you be that loud in the first place? Then we wouldn't have this problem.
Oh, so what was the first major low point? Like, what was the first major flashpoint where things started to feel like they were really starting to get out of control after school?
Straight after school.
Straight after school.
Yeah. I had no chill, absolutely no chill. Okay. I went pretty much, as I said before, I got a fake ID. I went out, I was 17, I was partying, I was dropping 27 ecstasy pills in one night.
Wow.
I was...
That's like Well, actually, I'm not going to disclose anything.
Yeah.
Watch it.
Yeah.
You don't want to be sharing too much of your past there, Locked Dog.
Yeah, no.
It's me that does that. Everyone thinks you're normal.
You're nice and quiet.
Let's not fuck that up.
That one.
Little diamond in the rough over
I
there.
can imagine. I imagine that the 27 Exy tablets weren't any Mitzies, because those things we're not able for 27. You'd be lucky to get 2.
I think they were called Pac-Mans or something.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember.
They were
those
just little
too.
pellets, and it was just like ding, 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 ding. And then by the end of the night, you were like, oh wow, I've gone too far.
Yeah. Brain is melted.
Yeah.
Kind of like those little pellets you feel kangaroos, right?
Yeah.
You just start
Yeah,
throwing them
you
all
just keep
down.
going. It's
That's a mad analogy. Yeah, it's
Well, it is. Like you go to a petting zoo and you got these little pellets, or the emus. Emus, sorry. That was a Homer Simpson thing. Emu. Anyway. Fucking hell.
it's one of my favourite words. I'm not gonna lie.
Emu.
it's interesting. Listening in on everything you've shared thus far. The constant not fitting in
Yeah.
from childhood and then into careers.
Mm-hmm.
That's I can understand probably why you're doing a lot of work now.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Do you know, like, the biggest thing about that is I still don't,
Yeah.
and I fucking love it. Now, that's the difference. That's the massive difference. And that's what all of this reflection that I was talking about before, that's what that's been for me lately, is that I love that I'm different. Like, this is a superpower for me. Do you know how many times I've just gone, I cannot be bothered with today, and I've just turned my hearing aids off. And I will walk around my house in silence. And it's like a mini like meditation without actually laying down and having that meditation. And it's made me go, I have nothing to do but listen to the thoughts in my head, because I can't hear anything else around me. So I can't hear the cars driving down the street where I live. I can't hear when the back door slams or something like that when I turn them off. I don't do it every day. I do it maybe once every couple of weeks. Sometimes I just get overwhelmed. It's like a sensory overload. And I just go, no, I want to do it.
How ironic that something that was a disability for you and caused you so much struggle growing up, not with that, but with the people's behaviour, you have the one thing I think most of the world needs now, which is to be able to just turn the sound of all of this fuckery off sometimes and just be. Like, no choice, just go, bang, turn them off.
Oh, it'll definitely help you sleep.
It'll
All he does is complain about traffic.
I am on a main road. Anyway, yeah, that's a good point. That would help me sleep, but I don't think my ADHD would help me sleep anyway. So
Earplugs?
fine. Yeah. So I the next question I have, I want you to answer taking aside, because I feel like the answer to this on the higher level would be what recently has been gone on. So remove that one.
Okay.
And
we're going to go into that one later.
Yeah, because I don't want to. That needs its own shine.
Yeah.
What was your lowest point in life, and what has it taught you in that period from like growing up into these kind of like mid 20s? What was your lowest point?
Fast forwarding quite a lot of years, pretty much from the age of 16, 17 to 24 is a blur.
Yeah.
They're still the part of my life that I'm actually trying to piece back together.
Okay.
Because like I know what happened and I know what I experienced, and I know that, but it's the deeper side of that I haven't experienced. So, the hardest part of my life was actually coming out of that kind of 24, 25 mark. I actually tried to kill myself.
Yeah.
And I just had enough. And it was everything that we were just saying. Like, I just had enough. I just didn't matter what I did in my life. I just was not fitting in. I was not fitting anywhere.
Wow.
And I could go and paint myself red and stand next to a red wall, and I still wouldn't
fit in with
there.
the Red Bull.
Yeah.
That's a really cool analogy, actually.
Yeah. I just couldn't. Yeah, I just could not. I couldn't grasp anything. I was completely desensitized to everything that was around me. And I was actually at my ex-boyfriend's house once. We were looking after his parents' place, and to this day, I regret it so much, because the trauma that the whole incident would have given him. Like, he was the first responder. He was there. He had to call the ambulance and everything. And we've spoken since, and we've spoken about it since. But yeah, to this day, it breaks my heart. I actually think about it quite regularly because I've never been in that situation before, and I cannot imagine the person that you love being on the ground. Like, it makes me kind of feel sick that I put someone in that situation. And I know that there was reasonings behind it, but looking back on it, I was just like, oh my goodness.
It was definitely unintentional. You know, I've been in that place myself. Probably not quite to that extent, but you kind of walk into that place feeling like there's no other option.
Yeah.
It's like the world's caving in on you, and as much as you're trying to find an answer or reach for an answer, you just can't get one.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, well, if there's no off switch, I'm going to have to make one.
Yeah. That's exactly what it was. Exactly what you said. There's no off switch, I'm going to have to make one. And that's how I felt. I was sitting in front of the fire. It was like, it's a beautiful winter's night. And I didn't plan it. I didn't do anything. I was just sitting there, had a glass of red wine in my hand. And I was just sitting there in front of like this beautiful fire. And it was such a beautiful moment that I was actually sitting. I was comfortable, I was happy. And then suddenly my brain just went, that's it.
Yep.
It wasn't, I'm going to go do this. It wasn't any of that. Like, everybody's going to miss me. It wasn't any of that shit. It was just, I'm done. It was.
Which is, it's highly intriguing because clinically trained as we are in that process when someone's going to end their life, what you've explained is nothing about how people are trained about this.
Yeah.
It's a plan. It's, you know what I'm talking about here, Jordan? Like, people that are going to do that, they make a plan, they put their affairs in order and all that. And this is how people are trained to spot people that are suicidal.
Oh, and some people do that.
It is for some people, or it's been an on-off thought for months or years.
True.
And you might have had a plan like 3, 4, 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And it can be just, you know, you find yourself in a good moment and it's like that thought just flies in and it's like, all right, let's jump to action. No second thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it was like leading up to it. I thought about it so many times and went, think of all the people you're leaving behind. Don't do it. You convince yourself out of it. You put that positive, like almost that toxic positivity.
Yeah, I like that.
It.
That's
and
the
you
thing.
go
That's
like,
a real thing.
Yeah, massively. And you just kind of sit there and you're convincing yourself that like you have to be okay. Just pretend that you're okay.
Yeah.
No one knows. No one cares. No one this, no one that. Just keep going on with your day. You'll be fine. You're going to upset people if you do this.
Yeah.
So in the months, if not years leading up to that, I'm going, I need that off button. I need that off switch. I need it. And I just kept convincing myself otherwise. I remember this night like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there. I was on the floor. I was leaning against the recliner. And it was almost like the entire room just went and just spun around my head. And I just went, that's it. It was peaceful and it was calm and it was just boom. So I went and took a lot of painkillers.
Yep.
And finished the bottle of wine.
Yep.
And
that was it. And that was my thing.
From that moment, how has it changed your life though? For some people when they go through something like that, it can be almost like a groundbreaking moment to not have actually gone through with it.
I did go through with it though.
Yeah, or even like surviving an attempt.
Yeah.
For some people, that's the moment in their life they needed. Was that something for you?
It wasn't for a while. Immediately, so my ex-partner, found me. Called the ambulance. I was in the ambulance. Stomach pumped. Went through all of that. Like my intention wasn't to cancel this out. Like it was not. That's not what you're saying. I know that, but it wasn't like a cry for help. It was this is done. Like I'm tapping out. Like I'm out of here. So in the hospital, I was in hospital for 2 days, had to go through all the psych, all the stuff that they put you through in that situation. And I walked out of there, to be completely honest, pretty hell-bent on doing it again.
Which is quite normal a lot of the time.
And I pretty much I didn't do it again. I didn't attempt it again because I sat down and I went back to my dad and I went back to my sister, and these people showed up that I didn't realize were like my most valuable players. And I didn't know that. And I was just, I was like, who the fuck are you? Where did you come from? And I didn't realize that you actually cared about me this much. And as that went along in the months kind of after it, I obviously started to feel better, and I had that support system and they were there. And that doesn't happen for everyone. I was so lucky with that. All these people just stepped in. Friends that I've known for 20 years that I haven't spoken to in 6 months in. Like, everyone was there. My dad, my mum, and I don't really get along all that well with my mother at all, but she was there. My stepdad was there. My sister was there. My brother-in-law was there. Like, everyone. Even my ex's family was there. My ex was there. And I just had this group of people that were part of the reason why I thought that I had to turn it off, because I was like, they don't actually even give a fuck about me, because if they did, I wouldn't be feeling like this. But I started leaning into it and I started accepting it, which was huge for me because I'm a very resistant person. I'm a very like, she'll be right, I'll do it myself. Kind of, I have that mentality of if you want something done, do it yourself.
Yeah.
And I very recently, in the last probably year or so, have stopped doing that. I've stopped going, like, I can actually ask for help.
Yeah.
Not just in a physical sense, but like I can go to my dad and be like, hey, I'm not in a good spot. So my kind of feeling after this all happened was I don't ever want to feel like that again, ever. And I've not come close since, because it's, to me, having that kind of pain and that kind of disassociation with the outside world and with myself is not worth it. It's just not. Like, how are you supposed to live your life when you're feeling like that?
Yeah.
That's what I say to myself regularly. Like, I'm just like, if you're feeling like that, that's when you need to go to that support system that you know very damn well that you have now. And this was years ago, and they're still there, except my ex's family. That's all.
Yeah, well,
but
so trying to check out helped you learn how to lean in.
I actually got in trouble. Like, my dad told me off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a tough love person. Like, I'm the like, no, that's it. I've had enough of this. Like, snap out of it, kind of, and that's what I need to be able to go. Shit, I don't need the like. Yeah, sure, a head pat's nice every now and then. Everyone loves that. Are you okay, sweetie? That's great.
A head pat. That sounds so condescending, eh? Like you're like 6 years old. Oh shit.
It's not what I meant, but
Yeah, I know.
I get it.
Yeah, I know.
Affection, we know what you mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, I need the tough love, and he was just sick of me.
Yeah.
And being a pretty well single father, he went through everything. Like, he had 2 daughters, and he went through everything. He went through our periods, went through our first boyfriends, he went through the first time he had sex, first time, like, he went through all of this shit. He's watching his 2 daughters do the shit. No.
Yeah.
It sounds like a nightmare for most
Yeah.
fathers.
Yeah.
And he's got one who's absolutely losing her mind in the process. Like, the poor man, honestly.
Oh well, he's. I'm sure he's made of steel.
Yeah, he does. But he did. I was sitting at the kitchen bench and he just went, I am fucking done. I'm done with this. And it was like angry, and he's like, I'm done. I was like, look at all these people. Look how many fucking flowers you've got on that bench over there. People are coming in here and they want you here. Like, he's like, I'm over it. I'm done. And he's like, yeah. He's like, I know you think your sister hates you. I know you think that your brother-in-law hates you, but they came here. He's like, get over it. Like, it's not, and in like the best possible way. Like, it wasn't just a fly away. He's like, get over it. We've got you. Like, it was like, we've got your back.
Yeah. Like, what more do you need to just live?
Yeah, exactly. And that was really difficult for me. I don't really recall how I actually lent into it, but it was just that kick up the arse that I needed. I felt like I was so alone for so long. So to have those people kind of step in, and especially my father, who's my best friend, to have him go, you're my kid. I never want to see my kid like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, this is not okay. Where you are right now is not okay, and we need to fix it, and we're here. And that was the best possible thing that I could have actually had.
It definitely sounds like from that experience, as bad as it was, having all those people come and surround you and show their support, love and care, like that introduced evidence to contradict the thoughts.
Absolutely. And I think that's a big message that I actually really, really do want to put out to a lot of people, is that when you think you've got nothing, you've actually got the most. Like, that was my biggest lesson coming out of that, was everyone stepped up. I stepped up for myself. So it's like, it doesn't take you getting to the point of wanting to end your life to get those people. You need to go to those people and be like, make an active choice to go, I don't want to feel like this. I need to be better. I've got friends, family, cousins, aunties, uncles. I've got co-workers that if I simply just walked in and said, I'm not doing that well, I need help, who really is going to turn you away?
No, but they're not.
Even if you did that to somebody on the street, really, 99, like a good, not going to say 99, but a good percentage of those people would probably stop and give you a hug and say, it's going to be okay.
It's just really hard, I guess, when you're sat in the darkness to be able to see any way out. Like, I've been there. You know you've got people in your life. You love it. Even if you're telling yourself you don't, you know deep down you've got them. You know that there's a way out of this. You know all you've got to do is go and talk to one person. But yet you just sit there and go, no, I just want to feel like this. But then that becomes a loop to the point you actually get addicted to feeling that bad that it then goes over the tipping point. Yeah. And I've been there a couple of times. It's not great, and it makes no sense because, like you with your dad, my mum's my best mate, and it sounds like we have the same relationship with our per parent, and there's no reason why I should have ever gone down the places I've been in those places, but sometimes you just can't see a way out. No,
there's comfort in sadness. A lot of people find comfort because it's like it's a comfort zone. It's a happy place. It's like me in my bed, binge eating and watching Netflix is where I feel good. Yeah. It's where I feel, it's not even where I feel good. It's where I feel comfortable. This is my safe place. Yeah. So a lot of people, like from the studies that I've done, a lot of people just find comfort in their depression, and that's why they find it so difficult to break it, because that's changing a routine and changing a cycle. Yeah. And they don't want to change that. So the more that they sit there and go, I like my little depression bubble. I'm not mocking. I'm just saying, no, I like my little depression bubble. Yeah. I want to stay here.
Yeah, and that's very much true. And like when you get in a depressed state, like your energy moves from your body and your limbs, and it is kind of all back in your mind. It's like we need to preserve everything, and you do find yourself in a rut of laziness you can't get out of as well. Yeah. And that feeds into the problem. But, you know, like I've had many instances where I've felt, well, I haven't been in depression, but I've had depressing moments. I was once diagnosed with depression and treated for it for years with medication. But I've had it since then. When those moments come, I've realized now they show up as indicators. And for me, it's like, okay, your life isn't good again, Jordan. You need to make a change. And that's how I treat, you know, my depressed moments. Mm-hmm. It's like when your brain's saying that stupid voice that pops into your head, oh, maybe you should just end it all, or your life's shit and you're a piece of shit. And what are you doing with yourself? Yeah. It's like, oh, okay, my life isn't the way it should be, or there's something going on that needs to be addressed. Let's address it. Yeah.
It's like a check engine light in your car.
It is, but then it's a sick way of doing it. Like, why can't a positive voice pop in my head and go, hey, like, you need to make a change today. Like, let's do that. Yay. And it's like, no, you're a piece of shit. Maybe you should think about killing yourself. Just end it all. Yeah. So, okay, thank you. That's very helpful. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to make all the changes with that. Cheers for the motivation, Mr. Depressed guy in there.
I like the way you frame that.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
But it just comes, you know, and some of us, it is a visit we get maybe too frequently.
Yeah.
That voice in our head. And it's like, just shut up.
I just think it's such an awesome thing that you can see that, like you can actually acknowledge that is happening. So when you're getting that voice, you're going, no, we're not doing this today. And you're changing it. I just think that's so cool. It's so, like, it's such a hard thing to do.
It's I guess now it's great, but it's taken a lot of those moments, like I mean a lot, to recognize the pattern. And it's like either my life isn't correct, like maybe there's something negative going on around me, or there's something internally that's popped up that needs to be worked on.
Yeah.
And it might be like, all right, I need 2 days. I need 2 days to work out what's going on and have a word with myself, me and that not so nice guy in there.
Yeah.
Go like, what's going on? Because those words are not of wisdom. Like, you need to shut up, you need to fix it.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that a lot.
So, switching it round a little bit, because this is the next bit that will then start exposing half of what we're here for today to address through your career right now and the things that you're passionate about within it. Because I think we've had a great framework here for people to get to see you before they make any sort of judgments that most people can do from this point on. So talk to me about having a career in the adult industry and what is the good, the bad and the ugly.
First of all, I absolutely love it.
Yep.
It's so much fun. I will admit straight off the bat that it is not going to be a long-term career for me. It's not a 10 years time kind of situation, but it's a right now situation, and I absolutely adore it. I adore the people in the industry. I adore the community that we have, and how most of us can actually really support each other. It's like most of the workers, whether it's people working in strip clubs or women who are escorts or men who are escorts or anyone really who's in that industry, male or female, we all share kind of the same, I guess, passion for it. There's not very many people who are in the industry that don't consciously want to be in the industry.
Yep.
That I've come with and that I've come across. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not very, I'm no expert on it.
No.
I'm speaking about what I've experienced in the time that I've been in the industry. I was a topless waitress for 2 to 3 years. And then I was a bartender at a club. And then I ended up moving from that club environment into actually dancing, because I was counting out one of the girls one night and she had this ridiculous amount of money. And I went, I'm on the wrong side of this bench. I was like, no. I'm not going to sit here earning hourly wage when I could be walking out of here in one night with that in my hand. No, thank you. That's not happening. So, within a couple of weeks, I had moved over into that. And I loved it. And I do love it. I love the bar job. It's fun. It's really fun. And it suits my personality, and it has done absolutely wonders for this little journey that I've been telling you guys about, of me self-reflecting and going back in, because it boosts my confidence.
Yep.
And especially as someone who felt that they never fit in their entire life, to have upwards of 10, 15 people tell you almost every night that you look amazing.
Yep.
And that they love you. And whether it's the work, whether it's the clientele, or whether it's the girls who, mind you, are some of my best friends.
Yep.
They tell you that you're beautiful. I've got one of my closest girls, whose house I actually stayed at last night. When she first found out I had hearing aids, because I put my hair up, we were just leaving for the night, and it makes me laugh so much. I'm so sorry. This is something I've never heard in my entire life. I put my hair up, I walked out, she walked in behind me, she was kind of following me out, and she's like, do you wear hearing aids? I was like, yeah. She's like, that's hot as fuck.
I wasn't expecting that.
I know. I was just like, what? Like, almost swung around. I was like, I've never heard that before.
Imagine that after what you went through. And I was just like, I remember it feeling, and it sticks in my brain so much. I'm like, oh my God. I've never heard that before. She just straight off the bat, without flinching, just went, that is hot as fuck. And I just went,
excuse me?
Just smashes all the paradigms you've had to deal with for like 30 years or 20 odd years.
It's like, my disability's sexy?
Yeah,
What?
I know. That's
Okay, yeah,
like,
say that again, please.
Exactly, and that's what it blew from. It's like it was like this glass wall just started going like right in front. I was like, whoa.
That's mad.
Yeah.
That's so powerful
Yeah.
when you think about the journey we've just gone on to this point of what you basically, like you said, you could paint me red and put me next to a red ball and I still wouldn't fit in.
Yeah.
I still love that analogy. And then to just have that said to you, like that literally that's like, you don't need a psychologist or anything. It's just that one person with that one statement just shattered the paradigm.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like we said earlier, like that's that new evidence contradicting those thoughts and beliefs.
Exactly. And it was actually a very big turning point in my kind of, not that I'd kind of gotten past a lot of it, like what we were talking about with high school and going through jobs that weren't quite accepting of my situation. And I'd gotten really past it. It kind of had that whole, oh, well, fuck them mentality. They're not in my life anymore. They're in the past. Don't have to worry about it kind of thing. But then I still obviously had that little thing that sits in the back of your head, like where I would purposely put my hair down so that no one would see them. And just this one particular night, I don't wear my hair up often. And that's still a very big insecurity of mine. But there's one night in particular, I put my hair up. And that was the first response that I got for doing that. And I just went, whoa. I was like, okay, here we go. New level unlocked, basically.
It's like Mario.
That's what it was.
Mario Brothers,
It was like this character was all blacked out. It was a silhouette of this character, and she said that, and I just watched it just light up. And here we go.
Wow.
And yeah, it was, but that's why I love the industry.
Yeah.
Because such a big percentage of the women that you work with, and don't get me wrong, there are some people that are difficult to deal with. Yeah. But that's in every job. Yeah. It doesn't matter what job you do, you're going to have the dickheads.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just human beings, right? It's just not all going to get along. We're not all going to see eye to eye. And we're going to create our own sub-communities in the bigger community. Yeah. That's life. Yeah. Just walk out the front door there in Elizabeth. Yeah. You'll see that. Like, exactly. There's plenty of sub-communities within the community.
It's impossible to get along with everybody. It's never going to happen. And not everyone's going to, like you said, see eye to eye. So that's why I like it.
Yeah. It would definitely make sense. So, like, I'm sure there's a lot of people that have probably come into the industry a bit insecure in their own ways. Mm-hmm. And just, to see someone with hearing aids, it's like, oh, I come in with baggage too. Yeah. And it's helped me. So if she's got hearing aids, who cares? Yeah,
exactly. And that's what it is.
Come in with one leg, we'll accept you.
Exactly. Yeah. That is why the industry is so powerful. And that's why I wish that it wasn't still such a taboo. Like, yeah, especially in South Australia where we are, it's still like
But this is a very so we moved here
giant retirement village.
Yeah, pretty much. Like we moved here down from the territory, and got our bearings after about 6 months, and we both said to each other, "This place is so conservative. It's unbelievable. Like compared to any other place. Like we love Adelaide. Yeah. Like that. Like." Disclaimer before anyone flips out. I'm not saying anything negative. I'm just saying it is very square bare here. Yeah. For I think a big population of the CBD and the surrounding areas, and so the taboo nature of strip clubs and adult entertainment in general is very taboo. Yeah. And yet there's fucking sex shops wherever you go, and like it's everywhere, but apparently it's not allowed to be anywhere.
Yeah. Well, I often say this to people when I do get on a bit of a tangent. I say, if you take the adult sex industry out of the world, you take it away. You take underwear, lingerie, you take sex shops, as you said, you take porn off the internet, you take strip clubs away, you take escorts, you take everything. Sex toys, done. Yep. I don't want to be here if that's happening.
I don't know. I mean, I think the world needs all of this stimulation.
That's what I'm saying. So if you take all of that stuff away, even just porn on the internet, do you know how many things are going to change?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, realistically.
I can only imagine, because I know from speaking to quite a few men now about their attendance at whether they refer to as strippers, but
I'm not going to mention any names of strip clubs and stuff. I'm just going to
no,
disclaimer that.
No. We'll just say those types of clubs where there's exotic dancing and stuff, and they've literally spoken about how attending those clubs has saved their mental health. You know, it's been years since they felt like they were desired by a female, or that they were able to talk to a female or have a female's attention for, you know, just a few minutes. Like, and their confidence has really taken a blow, you know, leading up to it. And it's like, oh, you know, I just want to go there. I feel really good. Like, it does a lot for my mental health. It's where I escape. And obviously, they pay money, but you sacrifice, you know, things as a worker too.
Exactly.
And it's a pretty equal exchange, and you probably give a lot more than you realise.
And we all often say very similar things to exactly what you've just said. Like, I've got men who are in their above 50, 60, like in that kind of realm, and they come in to see me because they don't even want me to get naked half the time. And that's no word of a lie.
They want someone to talk to. Yeah.
They want someone to talk to because they've worked their entire life. They've
sacrificed and lost everything.
Sacrificed so much. They didn't ever have kids. Didn't ever get that beautiful white picket fence family life that everyone kind of the dream. They didn't get that. So they come in and they get made to feel better. And it's not, we're not having sex. We're not doing anything. We are giving them an emotional connection. And it's like, yeah, sure. The bigger percentage of the men that come in are the bros on the Saturday night who are like, yeah, fuck yeah, let's go to the strip. It's like, yes.
Yeah,
of course.
You're going to have those kind of
course. And that's
demographics too.
That's a lot of our market as well, from what I've seen. But you have those experiences with these wonderful human beings. There's no word of a lie. Like, some of the men and even the women that come into that club are some of the most wonderful, genuine people. Granted, a lot of them aren't, but these people that come in as regular customers, they come in to see you, to look after you, if they've had a bad day, they tell you about it. Because they've had other things go on in their lives that has restricted them from doing that with anybody else. So yes, I'm happy to do that.
You're like an accidental counsellor.
Yeah. Oh God.
Yeah, I mean,
actually am.
Well, yeah, that's what you're actually undertaking and studying too, right? Like, professionally.
This is why I said to you the other day when we caught up, I was like, my job is research. Yeah. Because my biggest goal, doing my bachelor's of counselling and psychotherapy at the moment, and I would eventually like to get into the more in-depth psychology side of it, but that's I'm not looking at that until I've done the one that I'm on. I have this really bad habit of overworking. Yeah. So I go, no, just finish this one. Yeah. And then do it with that.
Focus on the one thing.
Yeah, one thing at a time.
Which is very hard.
Yeah, when you've got ADHD, of course.
Yes. It is. Yeah. Well, we're all on that same level. You know, Jordan has pretty much like us too, but his is just all inside himself. No, I'm being serious. He's got ADD.
It's very hard for me to stop everything in my head.
Yeah.
So what is
he doesn't show it outwardly. So he has ADD and we have ADHD. So it's blatantly obvious to people what we have. Yeah. They don't realise he has the exact same as us. He just doesn't outwardly show it.
So what is attention deficit hyperactive disorder?
Yeah, that's us.
Isn't it? That's us. Yes. And your attention deficit.
So here's the thing. So attention deficit hyperactivity disorder.
That's it.
For, I'm going to say almost most of people with that diagnosis, they're very calm externally, but the hyperactivity is internal.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
oh, okay. I didn't realise that either.
So most diagnoses that are for females, they present internally hyperactive and not external. But most men are external. Like, there's a lot of men that are externally hyperactive.
Oh, I did not know that.
So sorry to interrupt.
The hyperactivity is more common externally in men than women. I think I'm getting this right. But overall, across both genders, or any gender now, it's a large portion. It's just it's internal.
Wow.
There's only a small margin of people that actually display it
Outside.
externally.
Yeah.
Which will be that kid in the classroom that won't sit down and
Mm-hmm.
do all the
That's
things.
so we're
feel like that was
we're
you.
we're the 1%. I actually got sent through by someone the other day. They found a report card of mine from my primary school, and even there, the teachers are moaning about my attention deficit. But they didn't know what it was back then. They're just like, he's doing better with his work, but his attention's still a shit show.
See, I definitely think I don't think I'm much the 1%. I think you're definitely
I'm
1%. I'm going to go.
I am on a different level completely. I get it under control sometimes, but the majority of the time, I don't know how the fuck he deals with me, but he does.
The girls at work call me like golden retriever energy.
Yeah, that's what I'm called. My mum
Basically,
says she said if you were any kind of dog, you'd be a golden retriever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Golden retriever energy, just like let's go. But it's not always like that either. A lot of the time, it's just in my head, me overthinking and just staring at a wall.
Yeah, you end up in like a paralysis.
Yeah.
Get nothing done.
Mm-hmm.
But you got all the desire and blah 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 to get it all done. It's like, but 4, 5, 6, 7 hours goes by. It's like nothing.
Yeah.
Or you've got a task at the end of the day, so you're like, I can't do anything for the rest of it. Like, I can't do anything before that.
Yeah. You wait till 5 p.m. to like rush 2 things off the list. Yeah.
So I remember when we caught up the other week and started exploring this ready for the show. We talked about the challenges that your career at the moment as a dancer and within the adult industry with many facets now, because there's a lot of ways to monetize adult industry, entertainment, OnlyFans, and all these other things. Yeah. But we talked about the challenges that you have faced and probably still at times do with the acceptance of what you do versus your family and friends outside of the community you've made. Tell us about what's been the hardest challenge you've faced, family and friends, around the stigma attached to this career, current career.
I have to admit, my family and friends are incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. I told my dad and he said, well, I'm not happy about it, but you're an adult, you can do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably good to pre-warn him. Like, can you imagine if he accidentally walked into that
I
venue and didn't know that was your career?
Can only imagine. I've read a few stories about that stuff over the last few years of like that happening with a father walking into either a club or logging onto a sex cam thing or something, and then bang, his daughter's there.
No, so
as one of the workers.
My dad's great. He's not actually not into it. It's very like yeah, he doesn't like him. Like he does it. He's just like, I don't see the desire to go in there. He's like, I've been there.
Yeah.
Done it. Experienced it.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I'm the
Move
same.
on. Yeah.
I'm the same.
Exactly.
That's how we met.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
I was out with someone or people that wanted to go there, and I'd said to them, I don't do it. I'm not comfortable with it, and I don't want to waste their time, because I've been in them before with people that have wanted to do this too, and got to know some of the girls, when particular one in Melbourne, because I was working there a lot. And you're wasting their time if you're going in there to do none of the paying, because it's and so that's how we met. Is we went in there, and I was with 2 other gentlemen who did want to do all the things, and
we did the same thing too. We just sat there and just talked.
Yeah, like we went upstairs into that room, and it was just fucking chaos with them 2, and one of them stripping for the girl. And you were like, what are we doing? I was like, just talking, please. I can't, this is all too much for me. And we just sat there chatting for like 2 hours while this fucking bedlam was going on around us. And we just talked about life. And that's kind of partly where I first met you, and went, I got home that night, or by the time I got home, it was fucking God knows what time. But next morning, got up, I'm like, yeah, I met this girl last night called Caitie, and actually I didn't even know your name was Caitie.
I followed
Hurricane. I met this girl called
Hurricane.
Hurricane, and we talked, and I was like, well, I'm known as a tornado back home, so that's fucking interesting.
Yeah, I was pretty confused. He's like, yeah, her name's Hurricane. I'm like, okay.
Is it though?
Okay, I'm like, Hurricane.
Yeah.
I've actually got a tattoo on my leg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a pretty sick tattoo, that, by the way.
It is. Yeah. Props to the artist for that one. Thank you.
But yeah, no, look, there's contrary to popular belief, a lot of women think that all men want to go to strip clubs, and when they go in them, all men are just dirty bastards, and all that. So many women think that.
Yep.
It's not the truth.
Yep.
Some of us have mates that want to go and do the thing, and yet again, there's nothing wrong with that either. It's entertainment.
Yeah.
But I mean, women go to like one-off stripper nights and
women
that.
come to all female strip clubs. They love it.
Yeah.
There's all female strip clubs.
No, like
There's a
not
lot of
male strippers.
sorry.
They come to female
Yeah.
strippers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
got you,
Like
got you.
women come into the club all
Yeah.
the time. There was several in there last night.
Okay.
They come in. They love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. They're our biggest hype girls. We get up on stage and they're just like, yes, get like it's
Yeah. Okay.
it's amazing.
It's
girls,
almost
girls
as
for
if
the girls.
it's like a vicarious experience for them. It's
Yeah.
like, I'm not going to do it, so I'm going to live it through you.
I remember because I used to love going there.
Yeah.
I actually did. I really enjoyed it. I had a couple of friends over the years and partners over the years that I've been the one that's gone, do you want to go to the strippers?
Yeah, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I just like it. I appreciate women
Yeah.
so much. I'm incredibly bisexual. It's out of control, but it's
It's not out of control. It's in control.
Yeah.
It's who you are, right?
know.
Like you know who you are now. So all
Yeah.
of the things matter, and all of the things are included.
yeah. Like at the moment, and I actually said this to someone last night at work. I said, yeah, I've got a guy that I'm regularly seeing at the moment, but everything else, like that's not a commitment. That's not anything. But outside of that, I am all about the girls at the moment. And I go through these stages where I don't want to, and I don't want to kind of play that game. But then I'm like, it might be nice.
Curious.
Yeah.
A little bit
So I go
curious.
through and I go, I'm all men. And then suddenly it's, you know what? It's been a while.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Switch.
And I go
Let's
on a
switch it
rampage.
out. Let's
Yeah.
switch it out.
And it's like, the person I've like currently seeing, I've been seeing for a very short amount of time because I couldn't even bring myself to be intimate with somebody after my last breakup. It took me 5 months.
Yeah.
And because that just damaged me
Yeah.
like a lot more than I actually expected. And like I'm good with it now. It's great now. Like I'm sitting here going, I'm just gonna go out and live my best life. I've had enough go on that trumps
Yeah.
a relationship breakdown. But I wasn't intimate. I couldn't do it. I reckon it was 4.5 months before I actually had the balls to, well, I shouldn't say balls, but found the balls. I
Found
guess.
the balls.
We're an acceptable part of the 21st century to
Yeah.
have whatever you want.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty much. Have your cake and eat it,
Yeah.
or your vagina, penis, whatever you want. Really.
Just
Have your anything.
Stop.
Okay.
Stop it now.
All right. So anyway, just fucking moving on. Jesus Christ, Annie. So because our show is what it's about, I want to explore, or at least ask you, what does the word addiction mean to you?
I've been there.
Yep.
Not to like this is one of the really big things that going back to that between 18 and 24 gap in my life. Like that's why I've blocked out so much of it. I wasn't addicted to anything in the sense of every single day I needed it. I was addicted to the weekend bender.
Yep.
Every weekend. And it was very rarely did I have time off. And I wasted my life. I wasted money. I wasted so many things. And it means to me, I don't know what it means actually. I don't think I can answer that question properly. But for me, it's like there needs to be a bit more understanding around this instead of, oh, you're addicted to something. You suck.
Yep.
No, there is an imbalance, and there's a chemical imbalance for one,
Yep.
and there's a history that has led to that point. No one wakes up on a nice sunny Wednesday morning having a happy day and goes, you know what, I think I'm going to go get addicted to meth. No one does that.
I've said that many times to people.
It doesn't happen. So it's like there's a reason that people are...
There's a pain.
Yeah, it's a pain.
It's a pain.
And you're masking the pain. And the biggest thing, the psychology behind addiction, which you would know, is that all you're trying to do is chase that first one.
Yeah.
That first time that you didn't have to feel anything. Because, like, I know for me, when I first tried meth, that's all I was doing.
Yeah, me. I was the same. I was like, what's this fucking thing?
What is this
look at all the-
mind-blowingly beautiful thing?
look at
How
all the
can I feel
colours.
like this forever? Like,
Yeah. Which is why, you know, the Hoods made that song, Chase the Feeling. Because they made that song about a lot of their friends they lost to meth. I mean,
Yeah.
they were middle class Blackwood boys
Yeah,
actually.
I live a
grew
lot
up.
of my life based on Hilltop lyrics. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is the truth. And when you have high functional ADHD inside of you, and then you actually try the illegal version of the medication you should be on, all of a sudden it becomes really normal to be like on that stuff.
Yeah.
And unfortunately that then leads you down to a lot of problems physically, mentally and emotionally, depending on who you let in
And
to abuse your life.
Your environment as well. Like the people, and that, sorry to interrupt you, but like that's going back to the suicide attempt that we were talking about. Is because at the height of when I was feeling my worst is when I was heavily involved in meth, cocaine and pills. Like I was not nice to my body. So of course I pushed everyone away around me. Yeah. It wasn't my friends and family walking away. It was me going, no, fuck you.
But your
And then
scope
being
was the
like,
other.
oh, but why aren't you here for me?
Yeah. Which is very normal. That's how I felt as well. You know, that's how I felt. I mean, my poor mother didn't, because she lives overseas. Yeah. So she did. I'm pretty sure for nearly a year during the depths of that meth stuff, I don't even remember answering the phone to her for a while. And yet sitting there and thinking everyone, you know, didn't like me and doesn't want me. And it's like this bullshit dialogue you're running when it's like, you've pushed everyone away and won't pick the phone up. You fucking weirdo.
You just want to grab yourself and go, you're the reason. Like snap out of it.
But you can't see yourself in the picture when you're in the frame.
Not at all.
Right. And the drug itself is called ice because it just freezes everything you care about, your emotional state and everything. And you end up making some really bad choices and letting people, relationships into your life, both intimately and outwardly, that destroy you further. Yeah. It's just destruction. It's like striking a match in 45-degree weather in the Barossa Valley and just watching the wildfire spread, which is ironic because ice is meant to be cold. Well, fuck.
It's meant to look like ice, not fire.
Yeah.
Very nice. Little bit of both.
Anyway, another Danny segue. Well, talking of segues, then while we're at it, we'll give it one of these ones.
Read all
This
about
is
it.
gonna be class.
Read all about it. It's the news of the week.
Well, we've got a cracker. There's cooked, there's overdone, there's roasted, and there's charcoal, and then there's this. News of the week this week comes from Brazil. A woman who hit the headlines marrying a rag doll that her mother made for her claims her partner has cheated on her again. A rag doll, you know, like a doll made of...
So it's like one of those cotton dolls.
Yeah, one of those big cotton stuffed dolls.
Literally a dot made out of quilts. Like stuffed and made out of quilts.
Yeah, a man-sized rag doll. You know, like you have the little knitted rag dolls?
Yeah.
So one that's man-sized.
Okay, so my first question in this, I know you're not finished, but how was that allowed in the first place?
I'm not sure.
It is legal to marry yourself.
Didn't some guy marry the Berlin Wall or something like that?
Oh, I haven't heard about that one.
No.
Well, it fell down just like his marriage. Wow. So this woman married a rag doll that her mother made her, and now she's claiming he has cheated on her again. Not just once, this is the second time. Following the alleged cheating, the 37-year-old says the love rat is now sleeping on the sofa, and she even took away his penis. She said, I found out when my friend sent me a message one evening saying that he was cheating on me. So that night I got really bad and made him sleep on the couch. And his punishment was I decided to detach Marcello's dildo penis. I'm afraid other women will touch Marcello's penis, so I like to put it in the underwear drawer when we go out to bars or shows. Then there is no chance of any other woman lusting after him. I can't fucking deal with this. Last time he cheated, I found a bright pink thong on the floor. I found out that Marcello had been with another woman, but when I asked whose they were, shock, he didn't answer me. Because he's a fucking rag doll.
This cannot. It's
This
not.
is-
It's not real. No. No.
Go check the Instagram.
No, I'm going to. I'm doing.
This is a
right
piece
now.
of information I'm actually not going to let into my head.
Okay.
It's a waste of brain space. It's ridiculous. Brazil needs to sort
just to
this
finish,
shit out.
just to finish this off, right? She added, every now and then I catch him in a conversation with a girl, and when I ask who it is, he tries to say it's his cousin. For now, Marcello continues to sleep on the sofa and hasn't received his penis back yet. Just in other news along the same thing, Meravine launched a desperate bid to find her ragdoll child after he was kidnapped. They have
No, this isn't real. This is not.
I'm going to send you the link.
This cannot.
In fact, I'm going to put the link on.
This has got to be a piss take. It has to be.
Yeah. Attach the link to this episode.
I will attach the link. They have 3 ragdoll children, but this one's been kidnapped, and there was a ransom, and there was a whole rigmarole behind that went on as well.
I wouldn't be surprised if someone did that just for shits and gigs.
There's a 990,000 views on TikTok around this kidnapping incident. And you can find all of the other stuff in the links that will be with this podcast. But just on reflection about this whole situation outside of the absolute fucking absurdity of it, I just want to highlight one thing that a lot of women would probably agree with. Imagine if your partner cheated and you could just remove his penis.
Bliss. Absolute bliss.
I will...
Actually, no. I'll just remove him, maybe keep his penis. You've had a good penis. So I feel like I'll keep that.
Apparently,
that's still going to service me.
Well,
you no longer service me.
I mean, Marcello has a 16 centimeter penis. So, I mean, why not remove it and just keep it?
Bad. That's
yeah.
not bad.
I mean, I do.
Well done, Marcello.
Yeah. I mean, no wonder he's got 500 contacts on WhatsApp.
Wait, did her mother attach the penis originally? Or because
that's a whole other thing. I don't know. I can go down. Jordan's still trying.
Jordan's just looking at us like, what have I entered into?
Do you know what my head's like? And instead of like continuously laughing at this, I'm like, what's going on for this woman?
Yeah.
Like, does she need some support?
Yeah.
And does she have maybe a disability or something going on behind the scenes? And Brazil's decided to
stop laughing, take
the mickey out of a troubled individual.
Well, whatever's going on for Mervun.
I'm going to suggest that you stop trying to pronounce the name.
Whatever's going on for the lass, I hope that she ends up all right.
Pull your fucking head in, bruv.
I knew this was going to be a fucking banger of an episode.
That was hysterical.
That is I'm going to send you the link. There's like a whole 7 pages on it, and there's pictures. Do you want to see the ragdoll?
I'm actually low-key scared to see the ragdoll.
Well, I'm going to have to show you the ragdoll. Wait there a minute. This is Marcello, the ragdoll. Well, anyway, that was swiftly moving on.
I'm very impressed that she's got friends that are texting her about it. Ragdoll cheating, to be honest.
Yeah,
that was really mean. I'm sorry, everybody.
It is concerning. Like, is this maybe a community that might need some support with their mental health?
Like, I wonder what's going on. There has to be some sort of...
There's the ragdoll children too.
Explanation. That is terrifying.
Yeah.
Have you seen this?
He'd shown me a picture earlier.
It's terrifying.
Okay, so we've got Marcello, the well-endowed fellow, and the kids.
Marcello, the well-endowed fellow. Did you even mean to do that?
No, it just happened in my head just then.
I'm so impressed with you.
So I will post a link in the episode and I'll send it to you so you can, if you're ever feeling down, just read that. If you're having problems, just look at that.
Just think of Marcello. What was it? The well-endowed fellow.
Wow, that's a whole other
Should
level.
rename the whole podcast to that.
Oh, no, let's not.
No, we'll leave it at that. All right. Anyway, let's move on from that.